So I'm Olivia. Welcome back to Choosing Recovery. This is the Woman's Live podcast, and today our topics are parenting in recovery, and what was the other half of that? Tools that we use and how we use them in our everyday lives. So if you guys want to introduce yourself, Kimberly, you can go ahead.
Hi, I'm Kimberly. I am a recovering addict and alcoholic.
Thanks for being with us today, Kimberly. Go ahead, Alexis. We're just introducing ourselves.
Hi, I'm Lexi. Sorry, I ended up on the beach way too long, but I'm in recovery. I'm a mom. I've been clean for 7 years, and
Awesome. Well, I'm glad you ladies are here with us today. So, yeah, I'm just going to open up the floor if anybody wants to share on any of those topics. Feel free.
I'll go ahead. So when I first started drinking and using drugs and my life started spiraling out of control, I wasn't there for my children at all. I have 4 children. They were pretty young when I got into my addiction. My oldest son definitely saw a lot of it and a lot of the trauma that comes around it. And then I ended up going to prison, and my 3 older children didn't want to have anything to do with me. They felt like I abandoned them. And it was really hard to build those connections with them. Even after I got out of prison, it was a struggle. They still didn't really want to have anything to do with me. And I ended up relapsing. And this time I went and got help on my own before I was forced to. And it took a while, but they have definitely all came around. I'm an active part of all of their lives now. It took a lot of work, and it took a lot of me. I was told early on that the first 6 months, be real selfish, put myself above my kids, and if I didn't do that, it wouldn't work out. And that's what I did. I had to tell them no a lot of times. They don't live with me. They live about an hour away, and I had to tell them no about coming up a lot of times so that I could focus on my recovery. And they respect that, and they started asking me questions, and it definitely opened up the lines of communications. They trust me now. My 19-year-old daughter struggles with self-harm and an eating disorder, and because she saw how much I was changing my life, she was able to stop, and she hasn't done either one of those things for about 7 months.
Awesome.
She's gained probably 40 pounds since last summer, and she's happy about it. Like, she's at a healthy weight now, and she feels good about herself. And it feels good to hear her say that. And my oldest son, I was just talking to Olivia about this, so I'm probably going to tear up, but my oldest son, he's 22, he has been reaching out to me all week and telling me that he thinks his drinking is becoming a problem. He's known the chance of it becoming a problem, so he's always been very cautious of his drinking and would only drink once a month with his friends. And the last couple of weeks, he's been drinking every day, waking up, and that's the first thing he does, not stopping until he passes out. And last night, I had to do a 12-step call on my son because he was drunk and suicidal. It was hard. I'm struggling with it today. I haven't slept. He's at the hospital, and he's waiting to get into the detox unit. And he's doing it. Like, he's catching it before it gets to the point that he's committing crimes or getting in the car and hurting somebody or himself. So I'm proud of him, and I know I'm doing the right things. And my sponsor told me to look at the opposite side. If I wasn't doing what I was doing, and if I hadn't been sober the last 13 months, that he wouldn't have had anybody to reach out to, and his life could have spiraled out of control. So I'm just trying to keep that in mind and know that he's safe right now. And the same guy that came and got me and helped me is the same guy that I took with me last night to help my son. And it feels good. It's hard, but it feels good knowing he's safe.
Thanks, Kimberly, for sharing that, because I think that, especially for me personally, I never, like, when I got sober, I had my first baby, so I have a sober baby. So my child has never seen me use, by the grace of God, and I think that that I'm lucky enough to have that part of my story. When there's people that come on the channel and share their experience, they're like, I was a using parent, and they carry that shame and that guilt with them. And I'm always like, but look at the strength and the guidance you get to give them today. I don't personally know that, but it's so amazing to, like, look at where you've come from. And you get to show that to your kids. They have that same fight in them, Kimberly. Your son has the same fight that you have in you. And you being the example and sharing and growing and being able to reach out to him when he's at his lowest. Like, I'm getting teary-eyed right now. When you were talking, like, it's that cold chill. There's so much power just being able to share our experiences, and being able to do these things is because somebody else has struggled with that, and that's just, it's so powerful to be able to see the overcome, and the kids get to see that too. That's amazing, and I'm glad that you were able to share that with us today. I'm sorry that you are going through it. But just know that you don't have to go through it alone, that you have us with you.
Now you said the topics are parenting and recovery, and what else?
And then tools that we use in our everyday life.
Okay. So I have the same experience as you, Olivia, kind of. I didn't get clean until I was 5 months pregnant. It took an overdose and waking up in a crack house to finally get me to snap out of it. So I too have, I'm able to say my kids have never seen me under the influence, and I now have 4, including my sister. So my sister's different though, because she did see me growing up using. She saw me disappearing with men and not coming back for a year, and then being back and just being not okay. And I got custody of my sister, the first week I got out of rehab. My mom dropped her off and just never came back. Her dad, was drinking, and it just got bad. And I only had, I think, 7 months clean when I got her. So I got her when she was 9. And she's now 16. And watching her grow to trust me, and grow to trust my experience and what I went through, just like you can, she's able to follow my footsteps, she's able to, I'm open about it. She has questions and I do answer them, and she's able to come to me, and that's just a blessing. And literally, she calls me mom. That's just how close we've gotten, and I'm just so grateful for that. But she does remember when I was using. She has bad memories of me, but today, she doesn't have to. I don't have to give her any more bad memories. I can give her good ones. And I'm really grateful for that, and that's just something that I think as parents sometimes we can overlook, because we have such guilt about what we did do, and why, trying to figure out why, but we don't have, all we have to worry about is today, what we're able to give them today. And I fall short a lot, every day, finding everyday tools to maintain my recovery. It can be a challenge. I still go crazy sometimes. I still want to rip my hair out. I still fall to days where I'm I might as well say F it, but I've just gotten to a point that I remember that I can always go back to the basics, the beginning of what did work for me. What got me into here was I had to go to intensive rehab. I mean, that was at first, and I didn't even know how to live. Like, I didn't know how to brush my teeth in the morning. I didn't know how to, make my bed. I had to be taught how to live all over again, to put socks on, to just basic human skills. But when I got out is when, like, it became me. It became my choices and what I was going to do for recovery. And I promised, somebody in a meeting said, are you willing to do whatever it takes to stay clean? And, like, I didn't really, like, fully get that until, like, later on, but that's exactly what you were saying, like, I had to put recovery before my kid, and, like, that didn't really make sense to me, because, I was going to meetings every day instead of spending, those hours with my son, but, like, if my recovery is not first, then he will be last, period, because I have watched siblings, family, and friends not only die from this, but, like, use and lose everything. And, like, I had lost a brother early, when I was, right before I celebrated 18 months clean. My older brother, he passed away. He was a heroin user, and he tried to get help for the first time, and the withdrawals were just too much. But with that, like, there's one thing, like, I found gratitude in that, and that's because my little brother, our little brother, anytime he's doing good in his life and, like, doing decent, he will identify and recognize that, like, hey, sister, I have you to thank for, like, following your footsteps, and, like, that's just incredible, because if I hadn't went down this path and I hadn't done all the things that I do, like, I don't know if you would even know. Because there's some places, like the girl last week that shared, there's no recovery things in their community, nothing. And that's petrifying, because I know at first, I mean, it's definitely different now than when I first went through recovery, but it took me a while to get a bed. I basically had to demand the bed at the rehab I went to, and I was pregnant, and people were turning me away. And I had that willpower, and I had that willingness to do what I had to do. I was still using for that, like, week of searching, but, like, I didn't give up, so I did make it. And I think a huge tool today, though, that we all have the ability to access is having a higher power and truly putting trust into God. I call my higher power God. Putting trust into God, that, like, this is His will, and I know that I'm going to be okay, and He's never going to give me something more than I can handle. And there's been times that's been questionable. Like, last year was the worst year that I feel like any person could have. Like, not even to, like, compare and contrast, but, like, I went through hell, emotionally, mentally, physically, everything. But I'm not saying, like, my pain is different than someone else's, because we all share that pain, but, like, it was bad, and I fell to my knees plenty of times, and it's when you fall to your knees, it's when you're desperate to stop feeling the way you're feeling, is when you, like, access that, like, that trust, and building on that is trying to access that same desperation when you don't need, when you're not wishing, when you don't need to get out of something, when you don't need to change, or, it's huge to, like, work on that exact feeling, that moment when you fall on your knees, that's huge. And, like, even the 12 steps, like, that's the first step, is just admitting, and it's just admitting you have a problem, and, like, through, like, self-inventory, and, like, truly looking at myself today, and, like, seeing where I fall short, and, like, being brave enough to admit, like, yeah, I suck at this, or, like, yeah, I'm not doing well, has allowed me to grow in just ways I never thought I could. Like, you saw me 7 years ago, or 7.5 years ago, whatever, and I was just that girl that no one, I was just a statistic. Like I was just a desperate junkie. I was desperate for drugs. That feeling, that desperation that I found for God was just completely for the drugs. The drugs took it over, and that's scary. That's scary knowing that like that much of a power matched with my higher power, and that's why we have to take this so serious. Being a mom in recovery, and I'm now like a single mom. It's just me and the 4 kids, and it is fucking hard. I've struggled with like having dependence on relationships throughout the years, and I've paid consequences for that. I've learned through experience from that, but now like the past however long, like the first time I've actually had to take full responsibility, be the one that does everything, that has to step up, that cannot just stay down. I can't just stay in bed, and I went through a really bad depression not too long ago, and it took a toll on my children, a big toll, especially my teenage sister. I put so much on her shoulders, and I just know that like I have to continue, like I said earlier, to get back to basics, and it's not just my addiction, it's my mental health too, it's my emotional health, it's my relationships, it's truly just like I have to grow in every area of my life. And like the 12 steps, like the 12-step programs, like the steps are truly designed to like make a change in your life. And every person's different, and there's so many different roads to recovery. There's and I'm just someone that I'm not judgmental. Like however you have to recover, however you have to, whatever you have to do, just be a better mom, a better person, a better you. I support that. I don't know. It's definitely not easy parenting in recovery, but it's possible, and things are constantly changing. Like I've seen people go from having nothing to putting it all back, and it's so beautiful to watch. Those repairs of those relationships with your kids, it's amazing. Like that is just so beautiful that he can come to you and say, hey, this is where I'm at. I know you went through it, and I'm going to trust you. It's like putting that higher power desperation onto you. And that's amazing. That shows character. That shows, the impact you're making. So like you just have to continue to do what you can each day to like better your life, better your circumstances. Not obsessed about what you did or what you're gonna do, just what you're doing. Mm-hmm. I think it's super important to live in the moment and to live in today and live now. This is my first like vacation I've ever taken, like ever. And it's so exciting, and I know that I deserve this and I earned it, and like I don't know. I'm able to say today that I am proud of myself, which is huge. Because 7.5 years ago, I didn't even want to live. There was no desire to live. I don't even know how I survived, actually, like just with how much self-hatred I had and self-guilt. But like one other thing, like so I've been noticing with my sister, she's a huge part of my life, so I'm probably going to talk about her a million times throughout these podcasts. She's made a huge impact on my life. But, I see, like, how intense, like, our kids, like, look up to us and, like, mimic us and, like, do what we do and watch, like, I'm all, like, if someone were to compliment me, I'm always like, stop it. No, ew, don't say that. Like, in watching her say those things now, it's like, I want to slap her. do you mean? Like, you're gorgeous. Like, don't tell that person no. Say thank you. Say I know it. You know, so like it's able to like give me a self reflection of like, okay, I have to work on my confidence because like I want my kids to be confident. So like lately to my 4-year-old daughter, like every time I walk her into school, we both say back and forth to each other, you're beautiful, you're amazing, you're smart, you're awesome. Like I just, you know, and it sucks that it's through the bad things and it's through bad experiences that we're able to internalize and turn them into good experiences. So like that's a huge part of like me finding my gratitude in this is, you know, and knowing that God's never going to give me more than I can handle because I've made it through every situation and I've grown every single time. It's just having that trust in the moment is what we need to work on, you know, is when it's happening to us, like saying, okay, you know, this can turn out okay, but, you know, that's why we have each other, and that's why I think it's so important to connect and to spread out and to, like, share each other's different ways and, like, you know, I just think it's an amazing thing that you're starting, Olivia, and I'm excited to be a part of it, and I know that like my experience can help someone because it has. And I have my Circle of Peace on a peer, and I think peer work's amazing. I'm a huge advocate for it. I don't know how much like in other states, not like I know. I can't remember her name last week. She like doesn't know any of that. Like all the resources that we have here that we almost take for granted.
It was
have none, and
it was Tiffany. I think she was talking about Alabama. I believe that's where she's from.
Yep, Alabama.
Yep.
And it's just mind blowing, and it just makes me want to be in this so that we can branch out and we can offer this to other people because some people will never have the opportunity. You know, some kids will never see their mother ever a day in their life. And that's just going to be their normal growing up. And we can end a stigma, and we can personally end we can break any chains that are put on us, you know, and that's huge. And I love being there for other people. I love cheering people on. I love, you know, because it's so important to do. So I'm really grateful now, but I don't know, I'm just excited, and I know I have a lot to work on, and I have a lot to grow, a lot more growing up to do, you know, I'm still getting there. Being a mom of 4 crazy kids is definitely crazy, but, you know, this is where I'm at, this is what, I'll do whatever it takes to keep this, and,
awesome.
like I said, just connecting with you guys is just really important, and doing this stuff is so important.
I always say that, like, it's so important for me to, oh, goodness. This is just such a touchy subject, even though I personally have never been through it, because it's so hard on everybody. You know, it impacts everyone. See, like, I'm getting emotional. I remember when I first got clean, I was working 2 jobs by the grace of God, because I shouldn't have even had one. But I was working 2 jobs, and I was a cashier, and this girl comes up with her grandmother, and this little girl's eyes locked on mine. And I just, like, she lost her mom to an overdose, you know? And it breaks my heart. And her grandmother is raising her, you know, and I'm sure her life is amazing. But it's just sad that, like, it was almost like I looked in her eyes and I saw that. Like, I saw her pain, you know? And I just feel like if we can just stop and help one person see that there is the other side to this, that's all it takes. we're losing our parents. We're losing fathers. We're losing mothers. We're losing brothers. We're losing sisters. And it's just so hard. So, like, I always say that I'm early in recovery, no matter how much time I have. Every meeting I go into, I always say I'm early in recovery. Like, it doesn't matter how many years I have, because I have to remember that. Because today, I've never faced today before. It can look similar to yesterday or the day before that, but today, I don't know what the fuck is gonna happen.
That's why I'm huge against the word recovered. Like, it cringes me when I hear the word recovered. No, we're recovering, always.
Yeah,
Always
and always remain teachable, right? And, like, we're always growing, and I love that, because there's days that, like, I watch my son hit milestones by himself, right? And for some reason, that is just such an amazing feeling to me, that I get to watch him grow, and I get to watch him figure everything out for himself. And, like, I'm telling you, like, from now, when he was first born to, like, now, it was easy. You know, like, him as a newborn was easy. Now he's, like, 10 months old, and he's crawling, and he's teething, and he's doing all of these things, and I'm, like, getting so frustrated. And I know I'm not frustrated at him. Like, by all means, I am not frustrated at him. I'm frustrated because I'm trying to learn how to cope in these different phases, I guess. I don't know. And I have to remind myself that I'm doing the best that I can do right now as a mother. Even if that's the worst. You know what I mean? Like, it's the best that I'm doing right now. And I'm glad that I can give that to him. And I just feel like this is such an important topic to like, parenting in recovery is hard. Like Mike Meadows, he shares his story on TikTok, and he started with a suitcase and his son, you know, and he had to fight for his son, and that's their story to share, but it's just them, you know, and he was in addiction when he decided to fight for them, and today he's been clean over a year, I believe, and he has a son, he has custody of them. And another thing is one of the ladies that first came on, she always talked about how she uses weed for her mental health and how it makes her a present mother. And I love hearing that, because I think that if you get to find something that helps you along those lines and makes you better in different aspects, then definitely I'm going to support that. And I love hearing that. Different tools, I don't know. I would say, I don't even know where I was going with that. There's so many different tools I use in a day, and honestly, I wish I was better at them. You know, and I think that's what I get hard, and I get very hard on myself, as a mother and as a wife. So, you know, just do better, be better, you know, but with love, I guess. I'm saying that to myself. So, I don't know. What are your thoughts, Kimberly?
I've definitely learned a lot of tools. I work the program. I work the 12 steps. That's the way that I choose, because I have tried many times to get clean, and I've tried it every other way, and it's not worked for me. So this time I knew that I had to work a program, and I had to be 100% abstinence. I mean, I've seen it work for other people, and great. If other people choose different ways and it works for them, that's fantastic. But for me, I knew that I needed 100% abstinence. Like, I mean, I even went off my MATs as soon as I was done detoxing. I knew I even had to do that. Like, just from past experience of misusing that, I knew that for me, that's what I needed to do. And, you know, just do better, be better. You know, but with love, I guess. I'm saying that to myself.
Yeah.
And, you know, just do better, be better. You know, but with love, I guess. I'm saying that to myself. And, you know, just do better, be better. You know, but with love, I guess. I'm saying that to myself. And, you know, just do better, be better. You know, but with love, I guess. I'm saying that to myself. And, you know, just do better, be better. You know, but with love, I guess. I'm saying that to myself. And, you know, just do better, be better. You know, but with love, I guess. I'm saying that to myself. And, you know, just do better, be better. You know, but with love, I guess. I'm saying that to myself. And, you know, just do better, be better. You know, but with love, I guess. I'm saying that to myself. And, you know, just do better, be better. You know, but with love, I guess. I'm saying that to myself. And, you know, just do better, be better. You know, but with love, I guess. I'm saying that to myself. And, you know, just do better, be better 13 months ago, I would have never said that my life revolved around recovery. But it does, and it's great. Like, I never could have imagined. If somebody had told me that when I first went into detox, I probably would have laughed at them. But that is, like, that's the kind of stuff that, like, I want in my life. I mean, almost everybody that I associate with is in recovery. I go to a meeting almost every night of the week. I'm living in the sober house, and I'm active in the sober house.
Awesome.
And right now, and I hate it, like, this is the part that I hate when I am struggling, is because right now all the other girls are like brand new. Like, the one closest to me only has 5 months. So, like, I try to lead by example, and I try to give them somebody to look up to. So when I'm struggling, like, sometimes I have a hard time admitting that I'm struggling, because I don't want them, you know, I just feel judged in living in the situation that I'm living in, because they're all, you know, some of them are just...
It's so crazy how we blinked and we were that person, and then all of a sudden, like, what? Like, we're here? Like, what do you mean? I'm the one. Like, you know, just take each experience you have and just, you're here. Like, you know, it's amazing that they have you. It's amazing.
Yeah, I mean, it's crazy. Like, I mean, and I guess, like, I've had people say, because I keep getting asked to do all these things. I keep getting asked to, like, for service work, like, to speak at, like, the jail ones, and to, like, speak at the detox center. Like, people keep, like, I'm gonna grab you up. I've got one coming up in 3 weeks. I'm grabbing you before anybody else can. And I'm like, why? Like, why? And they're like, because you've got an incredible story and you're gonna help somebody. Like, you, like, and and I'm like, but I'm not worth it. And they're like, let us see your worth.
Let us determine that.
Yes. Like, you'll start seeing it. Like, and I do, like, a little more every day. Like, I see it, but I've developed a routine for myself, and I went into this, and I have taken every suggestion, and I have done everything that people have told me that I should be doing. I mean, I get up and do readings and prayers every morning. I have, like, a little meditation center in the corner of my room. I reach out to people all the time. I work the steps. I do service work. And it's incredible. Like, even when I'm hanging out with someone, like, going to do something fun, like, recovery conversations usually tend to come up.
That's awesome.
And it's just a crazy feeling that, like, this is part of my life. I mean, I even, like, rock recovery clothing, and, like, not ashamed to do it. I mean,
woo! And that's what I think is so incredible too, because definitely my spiritual tools are definitely the steps. And, you know, thinking back and, like, I'm not a perfect person by any means. I'm not a perfect mom. I'm not. And that's perfectly okay though, because nobody's perfect. And when I think back to it, there's so many, like, all the steps are interlinked, you know, for me personally. And I remember sitting there and working them with my sponsor. And, God bless that woman. She saved my life. And I love that, bringing the recovery into every day. I literally, me and my husband laugh about it. We're like, you can imagine the world if everybody worked some kind of program, you know? And it would be so different. So different.
My stepmother says that they should teach it in school, in class.
Like, imagine though, like, especially, I'm huge on admitting that I'm wrong, because I need to hold myself accountable for that, because if I don't, then nothing changes. Nothing in me changes, because I'm just like, oh, well, I wasn't wrong. You know, so doing the 10th step, realizing that I've made a mistake, I don't have to do the 9th. You know what I mean? Like, I'm like, oh, stop this right here. Hey, let's talk this through. This is how I'm feeling. How are you feeling? What's going on? Are we meeting in the middle anywhere? Instead of saying, oh, I'm sorry, let me work on myself. All of a sudden, we're now having communication skills and relationships are growing. I've never had I hated my father. Hated him. And in recovery, I was gifted a whole new relationship with him because guess what? I worked on me. Communication skill is a huge skill that I have. Absolutely. So.
Yeah, my relationships have definitely changed. It amazes me just in the short amount of time that I've been in recovery that how much trust I've earned back from family and friends. Like, I thought I had lost their trust forever after everything that I put them through. I never thought I would have that back. And I have a good relationship with both sets of my parents now. And it just, like, things just amaze me. I went to make an amends to my stepfather from 10 years ago. Yeah. I had a car repo that was under his name, and he had to pay for it. And I brought it up the other day and asked if we could set up some sort of payment plan. And I think he was shocked. He turned around. He was like, that was forever ago. Why are you bringing it up? And I was like, because I still owe you the money just because we've always ignored it. Like, it still happened. Like, I want to do the right things now. And he was like, promise me you'll stay at the sober house and stay part of your kids' lives and you don't owe me a penny. I refuse to take any money from you.
Oh my gosh, that's incredible.
It made me cry that, like, just by doing the right things, these things happen to us.
When I made an amends to my neighbor, right, like, I came home for a little bit in my active addiction because I always stayed away. I was like, nobody talked to me, nobody get involved in my life. The only person that talked to me every day was my own mom, right? But I was home for a little bit and I would cut through my yard to go to the store, right? And my neighbor didn't like that. And I was like, yeah, well, fuck you, you're a piece of shit, blah, blah, blah. And he came to my house to confront my dad, and I got in his face again. And, I was just vicious. And it's his property, okay? Like, remind you, like, this is this man's property. So, in recovery, like, they were like, amends will come to you when they're ready, right? Like, they'll just happen. You don't have to really go out of your way for them. They will be there when they're ready. And I was like, yeah. So, I was working my steps, and I was like, finally spoke to my sponsor about it, and I wrote him a letter, and I just left it in his mailbox. Well, I was walking to the store, and instead of cutting through his yard, I went all the way around, right? And he saw me coming the other way around. Remind you, I was like 90 pounds soaking wet, and in recovery, I gained my weight back. And he was like, Olivia? And I was like, yes. And he's like, he literally accepted my 9th step I gave to him, and I told him that I was sorry for disrespecting his property, for disrespecting him and his family, to making them feel uncomfortable in their own safety. And I crossed the line by doing that, and I crossed the line by speaking to him that way when he was trying to speak up for, his property and his wife and everything. Well, anyways, I started crying like a baby, but I'm telling you what, that was the best amends that I've ever did. Because it was so, like, meaningful in the way that it played out. It was just incredible. And I was like, wow. And you know what? He looked at me, he goes, Olivia, I'm 54 years old. This was a couple years ago. But anyways, he goes, and we've all been there at some point in our lives where we drank a little bit too much or something. And I was like, with respect, okay. Like, all right. But no. Awesome. I'm so glad that you ladies were able to jump on today. I know that we had a couple other girls that unfortunately couldn't make it, and that's just okay.
Sure, it's going to happen often.
And it's going to happen. Yeah, I'm trying
to... At school, we have a bunch of us, are open. Like, if anyone's watching this and is passionate about this, just message Olivia. Like, we need voices. We need experiences. Different places, different people.
Yes, and different stories. And I think that's just, it's incredible that we're all able to do this and speak out, So, yeah, we'll get it figured out. I think I'm going to do it twice a week. which will make it easier for some people. I don't know. I just want it to be kind of like a consistent thing that people can be able to jump on and watch, you know? But, yeah, do you guys have anything else that you wanted to share about the topics today? I'm sorry that I've been, like, kind of space cadet over here. I'm just having an emotional day. I can't even tell you why. I have no idea.
It definitely happens.
Yeah, so awesome.
I don't know, just that I think it's just important that anyone watching this that is a parent in recovery, you're not alone. Like the feelings that you, even the bad ones, like the feelings that you're like it's normal. Like we experience it, and we're here. And the really important thing with getting through like early recovery, I think, is always picking up the phone and using a support system, because if you're staying stuck in your head, if you're obsessing about something, negative, or like a thought, or like something going on, and it just stays stuck in your head, and it's never said out loud, it's never given advice, it's never, addressed, like it's just gonna progress, it's just gonna manifest. And so finding like a big sober support healthy system is huge. It's huge. And like we're kind of like here saying, hi, we're here if you need someone, because you're not alone. And that's really, really important to know. None of us are alone, and none of us have to do this alone. It's just humbling yourself to A, admit there's a problem, and then B, ask for help. Because that's how we're gonna get it.
And definitely put yourself first, because I think that's I think that can be difficult sometimes. For me, I've always been a people pleaser, and I always put everybody else before myself. And I'm telling you what, my husband is a good freaking man, because especially becoming a mom in recovery, I've gotten to that point where like I just was on top of everything, right? And he was like, Olivia, you need to take time for yourself, you need to do these things for yourself. And I'm just like, oh, blah, blah, blah. I today have such a well-balanced, I don't even know how to like word that, but putting myself first, I am so much better mom and wife if I do that. Today I probably could have been better on it since I'm crazy, but yeah, definitely putting yourself first. I think that it's a hard thing to grasp, but it's a skill. For me, it's a skill. I had to literally work on putting myself first. And putting your recovery first and putting yourself first is extremely important. It definitely is. And it's a skill you can build.
Yeah, saying no to me, like, that was one of the hardest things. Is learning how to say no to people.
Yeah.
It was hard. It took me a long time, and even now, like, I say it to people, but sometimes I feel really guilty, and I either have to go talk to the house manager here or call my sponsor and be like, I just said no to somebody, and I said it for the right reasons, but like I'm feeling real guilty. Like, should I change my plans to help them? And they're like, absolutely not. You work so hard to set boundaries. Do not. Like, as long as you're not saying no to be mean to somebody, like if you're saying no to take care of something of your own, like stick to it. Like, it's okay to say no to people.
My sponsor always said no is such a spiritual thing. And then she would tell me, no is a sentence. She was like, you don't have to explain anything. No is the answer. Just no. 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 And I'm telling you what, my mom, she has her own lifestyle and her own things that she deals with daily. She hated boundaries that I set, and she did everything in her power to fucking cross them. I tell you what. And I'm like, no, that's not acceptable to me. Don't call me past 5 p.m. Like, I don't want to talk to you after that. That's it. Like, no. And our relationship actually has grown due to boundaries, but she definitely tried to cross them. So, but yeah. Awesome. Do we have anything else that we want to talk about today, ladies? No?
Particularly.
Awesome. Well, thank you, ladies, for jumping on with me today. I will keep in touch, and if we have any ideas, I know that we need to make a Zoom call and everything, so I'm gonna reach out and get everybody in the group so we can set up for something so we can all have a Zoom call privately. Okay?
Right.
Awesome.
Yeah, I definitely think like a Zoom call with all of us. I'm really bad at keeping up with text. I'm terrible. Like I'll just pop in and be like, yeah, I'm still here, just not paying attention, but I'm here.
And they go by so quickly. I'm trying to find, I don't know if you guys know anything, I'm trying to find an app where I can put like
Discord. Discord. You can text all day on it, also call, start a video chat at any time. Here, I'll send you my number. I'll try to help you set it up and you can at least trial run it and see if you like it.
Because I'm trying to send out the like schedule for, and then have like everybody sign up for the different spots on it.
Yeah, because you can create like separate, like, there's a way we could do that for sure.
Awesome. All right. Well, I will reach out to you.
Yeah.
I'll reach out to you, ladies. Okay. Have a great day. Thank you so much.
You as well. Bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye, ladies.